My beloved brothers and sisters, life is filled with moments that shake us, moments of anger, fear, disappointment, and confusion. But the question is not what happens around you. The real question is, what happens within you? A strong believer is not the one who shouts the loudest, reacts the fastest, or loses control in difficulty. A strong believer is the one who remains calm when tested, who holds back when anger rises, and who remembers Allah even when the heart is trembling. Calmness is not weakness, it is power. It is a sayort, control over the nafs. When something goes wrong, people panic, they react, they say words they later regret. But the believer pauses, reflects, and responds with wisdom. Remember this, you cannot control every situation, but you can always control your reaction. And that reaction defines your character. When you train your mind to stay calm, you are actually training your heart to trust Allah. Because deep down, calmness comes from one powerful belief: Allah is in control, not me. So when hardship strikes, instead of asking, why me? Say, Ya Allah, give me strength, guide me, and help me respond in a way that pleases you. My brothers and sisters, patience is not just about waiting. It is about how you behave while you are waiting. Do you complain? Do you become angry? Or do you remain composed, knowing that every test carries wisdom? Guard your tongue. A calm mind produces calm words, and sometimes silence is more powerful than speech. One word spoken in anger can destroy relationships, but one moment of restraint can save them. Train yourself daily. When you're angry, pause. When you are hurt, make dawah. When you are tested, remember it is temporary. Nothing in this dunya lasts forever. Not pain, not hardship, not even your worries. So why lose your peace over something that will pass? And always remind yourself, Allah tests those He loves. So if you are facing difficulty, it is not a sign that Allah has abandoned you. It may be a sign that Allah wants to raise you. Calmness is a gift, but it is also a skill. The more you practice it, the stronger you become. So train your mind, discipline your reactions, soften your heart, and stay connected to Allah. And you will find that no matter how stormy life becomes, inside you there will always be peace. Wakaru tawana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Calmness is often misunderstood. Many people think that if you are calm, it means you are weak, passive, or unable to stand up for yourself. But in reality, calmness is one of the greatest forms of strength a person can possess. It is easy to react with anger, to raise your voice, to let your emotions take control. Anyone can do that, but it takes real strength to remain composed when everything inside you is pushing you to react. When something upsets you, your first instinct might be to respond immediately. The ego wants to defend itself, to prove a point, to show that you are right. But a calm person pauses. That pause is not weakness, it is power. It is a sign that you are in control of yourself, not a slave to your emotions, and the one who controls himself has already won half the battle. In life, you will face situations that test your patience. People may misunderstand you, speak harshly to you, or treat you unfairly. If you react instantly with anger, you may feel strong in that moment, but often it leads to regret. Words spoken in anger cannot be taken back. Actions done in haste can leave scars that last for years. But when you remain calm, you give yourself the ability to think clearly, to choose your response wisely, and to act in a way that you will not regret later. True strength is not about overpowering others. It is about mastering yourself. The one who can control his anger, who can stay calm in the face of provocation, is far stronger than the one who can dominate others physically or verbally. This kind of strength builds respect. People may fear an angry person, but they trust and admire someone who is calm and composed. Calmness also protects your peace. When you allow every situation to disturb you, you are giving control of your emotions to the outside world. But when you train yourself to stay calm, you take that control back. You decide what affects you and what does not. This does not mean you ignore problems or pretend that everything is fine. It means you deal with challenges with a clear mind and a steady heart. There is also a deep connection between calmness and faith. When you truly believe that everything is under the control of Allah, your heart finds a sense of ease. You realize that not every situation requires panic or frustration. Sometimes what is needed is patience and trust. A calm heart reflects a heart that has reliance, a heart that has reliance, a heart that knows that even in difficulty there is wisdom. Being calm does not mean you never feel anger or sadness. These are natural human emotions, but it means you do not let those emotions control your behavior. You acknowledge what you feel, but you respond in a way that aligns with your values and your faith. This is what makes calmness such a powerful quality. It transforms how you deal with life itself. Over time, when you practice calmness, it becomes part of your character. You begin to notice that situations that once disturbed you no longer have the same effect. You become more patient, more thoughtful, and more balanced. This is true inner strength, the ability to remain steady no matter what is happening around you. So calmness is not weakness at all. It is discipline, it is self-control, it is trust. And above all, it is strength in its purest form. There is a powerful truth that many people overlook in life. You cannot control every situation, but you can always control your reaction. This realization changes everything. So much of our stress, anger, and frustration comes from trying to control things that were never in our hands to begin with. People will behave in ways you don't expect. Situations will unfold differently than you planned, and life will test you in ways you did not prepare for. But in all of this, there is one thing that always remains within your reach: your response. When something goes wrong, the immediate reaction for many is to blame, to complain, or to lose control emotionally. It feels natural to react instantly, especially when you feel hurt, disrespected, or overwhelmed. But reacting without thinking often makes the situation worse. A harsh word leads to another harsh word. Anger fuels more anger. And suddenly, a small issue becomes a major conflict. The situation may not have been in your control, but the way you reacted to it can either escalate it or calm it down. A person who understands this principle begins to live differently. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? They begin to ask, how should I respond to this in the best way? That shift in thinking is the beginning of emotional strength. That shift in thinking is the beginning of emotional strength. It means you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are someone who chooses their behavior with awareness and purpose. Controlling your reaction does not mean suppressing your feelings or pretending that nothing affects you. It means you take a moment to process what you feel before you act. You give yourself time to think, no, at pause, even if it is just a few seconds. Create space between the event and your response. And in that space lies your power. Because once you pause, you can choose patience over anger, wisdom over impulse, and calmness over chaos. In many situations, the outcome is shaped more by your reaction than by the situation itself. Two people can go through the exact same difficulty, yet their experiences can be completely different. One reacts with panic, anger, and negativity, making the situation heavier than it already is. The other responds with patience, reflection, and calmness, finding a way to navigate through it with dignity. The difference is not the situation, it is the reaction. This is especially important when dealing with people. You cannot control what others say or do. Someone may insult you, misunderstand you, or treat you unfairly. If you react immediately, you give them power over your emotions. But when you choose not to react in the same negative way, you take that power back. You show that your character is not dependent on someone else's behavior. You act based on your values, not their actions. There is also a deep sense of peace that comes with mastering your reactions. When you stop trying to control everything around you, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. You begin to accept that life will have unexpected turns, but those turns do not have to shake your inner stability. You become more resilient, more composed, and more focused. Faith plays a crucial role in this. When you believe that everything happens by the will of Allah, it becomes easier to let go of the need to control every outcome. You trust that even if things don't go your way, there is a greater wisdom behind it. This trust allows you to respond with patience rather than frustration, with hope rather than despair. In the end, your reaction is a reflection of who you are. It shows your level of self-control, your understanding, and your strength. Situations will come and go, but your character remains. So train yourself to respond thoughtfully, to pause before reacting, and to choose what is right over what is easy. Because while you may not control what happens to you, you always control who you become through it. There is a deep and unshakable peace that enters the heart when a person truly understands what it means to trust Allah. This trust, known as Tawakkul, is not just a concept we speak about. It is a state of the heart that transforms how you see every situation in life. When you rely on Allah with sincerity, you begin to realize that you are never alone, never unsupported, and never left without guidance, even in your most difficult moments. Many people search for peace in external things, wealth, status, relationships, or control over their circumstances. But these things are unstable by nature. They change, they fade, and sometimes they disappear altogether. When your peace is attached to something temporary, your heart will always be unsettled. But when your peace is rooted in trust in Allah, it becomes sabit, firm and steady, regardless of what is happening around you. Tawakkul does not mean that you sit back and do nothing. It is not about abandoning effort or responsibility. Rather, it is about doing your best with sincerity and then leaving the outcome to Allah. You tie your camel, as the saying goes, but you understand that the final result is not in your hands. This balance between effort and trust is what brings true inner calmness. When something does not go your way, it is easy to feel anxious, frustrated, or even hopeless. You may start questioning why things are happening the way they are. But a heart that has tawakkul responds differently. It says, Allah knows what I do not know. It accepts that there is a wisdom beyond human understanding. This belief removes a heavy burden from your heart. The burden of trying to figure out everything and control every outcome. Trusting Allah also changes how you deal with fear. Fear often comes from uncertainty about the future. What will happen? How will things turn out? But when you place your trust in Allah, you remind yourself that your future is in the hands of the one who is most wise and most merciful. This realization brings a sense of reassurance. You may not know what lies ahead, but you know that the one in control of it is just and kind. In moments of hardship, tawakkul becomes even more powerful. When you are tested, it is your trust in Allah that keeps you grounded. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you find strength in your connection with Him. You turn to Him in dua, you seek His help, and you remind yourself that no difficulty is placed upon you without purpose. Even if you cannot see the reason now, you believe that one day it will make sense. There is also a beautiful sense of contentment that comes with trusting Allah. You stop comparing your life to others and you stop feeling dissatisfied with what you have. You understand that what is meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you. This belief protects your heart from envy, regret, and constant worry. Tawakkul brings balance to your emotions. It prevents extreme reactions. Neither do you become overly attached to success, nor do you become completely broken by failure. When something good happens, you are grateful but humble, knowing it is from Allah. When something difficult happens, you are patient and hopeful, knowing that relief will come. Over time, this trust becomes a source of strength that shapes your entire outlook on life. You walk through challenges with calmness, you face uncertainty with courage, and you carry a quiet confidence within you, not because you believe in your own ability alone, but because you believe in the one who is always in control. This is the beauty of trusting Allah. It does not remove the stones from your life, but it gives you the strength to remain calm within them. It does not mean you will never feel pain, but it ensures that your pain does not break you. And most importantly, it fills your heart with a peace that cannot be shaken by the ups and downs of this world. Patience, known as Sabr, is one of the most powerful qualities a person can develop, yet it is often misunderstood. Many people think patience simply means waiting quietly or enduring hardship without complaint. But in reality, patience is much deeper than that. It is the ability to remain steady, composed, and faithful even when life becomes difficult. It is not just about what you go through, but how you go through it. Every person faces challenges. There are moments of delay, loss, disappointment, and pain. These moments test not only your strength, but also your character. Anyone can remain calm when everything is going well, but true patience is revealed when things do not go according to your plans. It is in these moments that emotional stability becomes essential and patience becomes your anchor. When something goes wrong, the heart naturally feels discomfort. You may feel frustrated, anxious, or even overwhelmed. But patience teaches you not to let those emotions take control of your actions. It allows you to acknowledge what you feel without letting it define how you behave. Instead of reacting impulsively, you choose to respond with thoughtfulness and restraint. This is where emotional stability begins to grow. Patience also changes the way you perceive hardship. Instead of seeing difficulties as purely negative, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth. Eve, right test carries a lesson, and every delay has a purpose. When you are patient, you give yourself the time to understand these lessons. You allow the experience to shape you rather than break you. This perspective brings a sense of balance to your emotions, preventing you from falling into despair. One of the most important aspects of patience is consistency. It is not a one-time act. It is a continuous effort. You practice it in small, everyday situations as well as in major life challenges. When someone speaks to you harshly, patience helps you respond calmly. When things don't go your way, patience helps you accept and adapt. When you are waiting for something you desire, patience helps you remain hopeful without becoming restless. Over time, these small acts of patience build a strong and stable mindset. There is also a deep connection between patience and inner peace. When you lack patience, your mind becomes restless. You constantly worry about outcomes, feel irritated by delays, and become easily upset by small inconveniences. But when you develop patience, your mind begins to settle. You accept that not everything will happen on your timeline, and that is okay. This acceptance reduces stress and allows you to approach life with a calmer and clearer perspective. Patience does not mean you do nothing. It does not mean you give up or stop striving. Rather, it means you continue to make effort without losing hope or composure. You keep moving forward even if progress feels slow. You trust that your efforts will bear fruit at the right time, even if you cannot see immediate results. This balance between effort and calmness is what makes patience so powerful. In relationships, patience plays a crucial role as well. People are not perfect and misunderstandings are inevitable. Without patience, small issues can quickly turn into major conflicts. But with patience, you create space for understanding and forgiveness. You become less reactive and more thoughtful in your interactions, which strengthens your connections with others. Over time, patience becomes a source of emotional strength that supports you in every aspect of life. It allows you to remain steady in uncertainty, calm in difficulty, and hopeful in delay. It protects your heart from being overwhelmed and your mind from becoming unstable. In essence, patience is not just about enduring hardship. It is about maintaining your dignity, your composure, and your faith throughout the journey. It is what keeps you grounded when everything around you feels uncertain. And through patience, you develop a level of emotional stability that allows you to face life with strength, wisdom, and peace. The tongue is one of the most powerful parts of the human being. Yet it is also one of the most dangerous when left uncontrolled. What you say is not just a reflection of your thoughts. It is a direct reflection of your state of mind and the condition of your heart. When the mind is calm, the words that come out are measured, thoughtful, and gentle. But when the mind is disturbed, angry, or overwhelmed, the tongue often becomes sharp, careless, and harmful. Many people underestimate how quickly words can cause damage. A single sentence spoken in anger can break trust, hurt someone deeply, or create distance in a relationship that took years to build. In moments of frustration, the tongue tends to move faster than the mind. You say things without thinking, and once those words leave your mouth, they cannot be taken back. Regret often follows, but by then, the impact has already been made. This is why controlling your speech is closely tied to controlling your emotions. If your mind is not disciplined, your tongue will not be disciplined either. When anger rises, it pushes you to respect, on immediately, to defend yourself, or to attack in return, but a calm mind creates a pause. That pause allows you to think before you speak, to choose your words carefully, or sometimes to choose silence over speech. Silence in many situations is not a sign of weakness. Silence in many situations is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom and self-control. Not every comment deserves a response, and not every situation requires you to prove a point. Sometimes remaining silent protects you from saying something you will regret. It also prevents situations from escalating unnecessarily. A calm person understands that speaking less can often mean preserving more peace, more respect, and more dignity. The way you speak also shapes how people perceive you. Harsh, reactive speech may make you feel powerful in the moment, but it often leads to loss of respect over time. On the other hand, calm and thoughtful speech earns trust and admiration. People feel safe around someone who speaks with kindness and control, even in difficult situations. Your words can either build bridges or burn them, and that choice lies entirely with you. There is also a deep internal effect of speech that many people overlook. When you constantly speak negatively, complain, or react harshly, it reinforces a negative mindset within you. Your words begin to shape your thoughts, and your thoughts influence your emotions. But when you train yourself to speak calmly and positively, even during challenges, it helps create a more balanced and peaceful state of mind. In this way, controlling your tongue is not only about protecting others, it is also about protecting your own inner peace. In moments of anger or stress, one of the most powerful things you can do is delay your response. One of the most powerful things you can do is delay your response. Give yourself time to cool down before speaking. This simple act can prevent countless problems. Often, what feels urgent to say in the heat of the moment become as unnecessary once you have calmed down. You begin to see things more clearly, and your words become more aligned with your values rather than your emotions. It is also important to remember that words carry weight. They can heal or harm, uplift or destroy. A kind word can ease someone's pain, while a harsh word can deepen it. When your mind is calm, you become more aware of this responsibility. When your mind is calm, you become more aware of this responsibility. You begin to speak with intention, choosing words that bring benefit rather than harm. Over time, as you train your mind to remain calm, your speech naturally follows. You become less reactive, more composed, and more mindful in your communication. This not only improves your relationships, but also strengthens your character. People begin to see you as someone who is trustworthy, wise, and emotionally stable. In the end, your tongue is a mirror of your inner state. If you want your words to reflect calmness, your mind must first be trained to achieve it. And when both your mind and your speech are aligned in calmness, you carry a presence that brings peace not only to yourself, but also to those around you. One of the most comforting realizations a person can have is that every test in life is temporary and filled with meaning. When you are going through a difficult time, it often feels like it will never end. The pain feels heavy, the situation feels overwhelming, and the mind begins to believe that this hardship is permanent. But the reality is that nothing in this world lasts forever, not the good and not the bad. Everything is passing, and every moment is part of a larger plan that you may not fully understand right now. When you remind yourself that your test is temporary, it immediately changes how you handle it. Instead of feeling trapped, you begin to see the situation as a phase, something you are passing through, not something you are stuck in. This shift in perspective reduces panic and helps you stay calm. You realize that just as ease did not last forever, hardship will not last forever either. There is a cycle in life, and after difficulty comes relief, even if it takes time. But beyond being temporary, every test also carries meaning. Nothing happens without purpose. Even the smallest inconvenience or the biggest hardship has something to teach you, something to shape within you, or something to redirect you toward. Sometimes the meaning is clear. You learn patience, strength, or humility. Other times the meaning is hidden, and you may only understand it much later in life. But just because you cannot see the purpose now does not mean there is none. When people face hardship without understanding this, they often fall into despair. They begin to question everything, lose hope, and feel as though their struggles are pointless. But when you believe that every test has meaning, your mindset changes. You begin to approach challenges with curiosity and reflection rather than frustration. You ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me better? This approach transforms hardship into an opportunity for growth. This understanding also protects you from overreacting in difficult moments. When something goes wrong, instead of immediately becoming overwhelmed, you remind yourself that this is just a test, and like all tests, it will pass. This reminder creates a sense of emotional balance. You may still feel the pain, but it does not consume you. You remain grounded, knowing that this moment is not the end of your story. There is also a sense of hope that comes with this belief. When you know that your situation is temporary, you hold on a little longer. You stay patient a little more. You keep going even when it feels difficult. Hope becomes your strength, and it carries you through moments that might otherwise feel unbearable. Without this hope, even small challenges can feel overwhelming. But with it, even great difficulties become manageable. Understanding that every test has meaning also deepens your sense of trust. You begin to accept that there is wisdom behind what happens in your life, even if you cannot see it immediately. This trust brings peace to the heart. You stop fighting every situation internally and instead learn to navigate it with calmness and acceptance. You still make effort to improve your situation, but you do so without losing your inner stability. Over time, when you look back at your life, you start to see how past difficulties shape who you are today. Moments that once felt painful may later reveal themselves as turning points that led you to something better. This reflection strengthens your belief that current hardships also carry hidden benefits. In the end, remembering that every test is temporary and meaningful gives you the strength to remain calm in any situation. It keeps you from losing yourself in moments of difficulty and helps you maintain perspective. Life will either have ups and downs, but when you hold on to this understanding, you move through both with balanced patience and quiet confidence. In conclusion, my brothers and sisters, life will never be free from challenges. There will always be moments that test your patience, shake your emotions, and push you to your limits. But the goal is not to live a life without trials. The goal is to develop a heart and mind that remains steady through them. When you train yourself to stay calm, you are not escaping difficulty. You are rising above it. Remember, calmness is strength, not weakness. It is a sign that you are in control of yourself, even when everything around you feels out of control. You may not be able to change every situation, but you always have the power to choose how you respond. And that choice shapes your character, your relationships, and ultimately your peace. Place your trust in Allah because true calmness comes from knowing that He is in control of all things. Hold firmly to patience because it is what keeps you grounded when emotions try to pull you in different directions. Guard your tongue because your words reflect what is within you and they have the power to either heal or harm. And always remind yourself that every test you face is temporary and filled with purpose, even if you cannot see it right now. When you live with these principles, you begin to carry a different kind of strength, a quiet strength that does not need to prove itself, a calmness that is not easily shaken, and a faith that keeps your heart at ease. No matter how intense the storm becomes, there will be a sense of peace within you that remains untouched. So train your mind, nurture your heart, and stay connected to Allah in every moment. Because when your connection with Him is strong, your calmness will not depend on your circumstances. It will come from within. May Allah grant us hearts that are patient, minds that are calm, and souls that are always at peace. Ameen.